tell you that I love you, and I pray you try to trick me, but baby, you told me you was going through this with me. Tell me I was tripping, that my eyes were seeing shit, but it was just the truth. No, you can't admit to it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Poetress. If you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And today, I am coming on here to talk to you guys about another one of those books where I seen the movie a million times, but I haven't read the book yet, and that is The Color Purple. As you guys can see, I have little dividers in here because there's a lot of things in this book that I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into the first part of the book where I was like, what? So Miss Millie is the woman where Sophia is basically her maid. We've seen this lady in the movie, and y'all seen how she was trying to pull off and she couldn't pull off. That's Miss Millie in the movie. So Sophia is her maid. And then y'all remember in the movie where Miss Millie had dropped Sophia off, but then she had to leave. In the movie, we never knew how long she was there, but in the book, they emphasized that and said that she only got to spend 15 minutes with her kids because she had to go and drop Miss Millie off. I was like, right, you ain't seen your kids in years, and you only got to spend 15 minutes with them? Man, that's bogus, bro. And so another part is how Celie was so pissed off that Suge had gotten married. Like, Celie was mad. She was mad that Suge had gotten married to Grady. And I was like, if this ain't some lesbian shit. And then one thing that also throws me off is the accent in this book. Like, when I tell you, it ain't nothing but southern accents in here. Southern. And I mean deep southern accents. It took me a minute to get through this book because I was reading southern accents. Like, I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. My accent ranges between Atlanta, Virginia, and New York. Those are my accents right there. So then we get to the part where Celie starts talking about how her stepfather raped her. But while I was reading this portion of the book, I thought that her father had raped her, but no, it was her mother's husband. And I'm like, wait, did Celie not tell her mother that her stepfather was molesting her? That part threw me. And then there was another part of the book where Celie and Suge ended up having sex with each other. I was like, yo, if they would have put that part in the movie, it would have been dope. But you gotta remember, this movie came out in the 90s, and wrote nobody on that type of time. I wasn't even on that type of time. I was young, so I didn't know nothing about lesbianism or anything like that until I got much older. But now that I'm reading this book, I really will stay with it, like emphasizing that Celie and Suge's relationship, because they didn't do enough of that for me in the movie. So the next part is Suge's real name. In the movie, we never got Suge's real name. We just thought her name was Suge. Her real name is Lily. And I was like, oh, that's a cute name for the lady that played Suge. If she would have used her real name. And then Albert is Mr. Like, I never knew what Mr's name was. Mr's name is Albert. And Danny Glover looked like an Albert. For real, he really, really do look like an Albert. So the next portion of the book is the language and the nationality of Olenka. I'm very curious to know about that, so I'm going to look it up and see if there's any truth to the language and the nationality in Africa. And then I'm curious to know what Ask Racism is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's spelled Ostracism. I want to know what that means. So it also says here, Amandi Olenka, the husband has life and death power over the wife. If he accuses one of his wives of witchcraft or infidelity, she can be killed. Now, I want to know if that's true. That's why I highlighted it in my book. I want to know if that's a belief in Africa or was a belief in Africa. And the next thing in the book is in Olenka, if this is true, they pronounce English, like the word English, they say yang lush. Yang lush. People have different ways of saying things, and I think that's very, very interesting. Then there's something in here about, since the Olenka no longer own their village, they must pay rent for it, and in order to use the water, which also no longer belongs to them, they must pay a water tax. And I said in this part of it, I said, had to pay for what was destroyed by others. Because I didn't understand. Because when they were there, everything that they used was free. But when the white people came and took over, they had to start paying for their shit. I did not understand that. So that was a question that I had with that. And then the next part is clam. Like I said, they have these very deep southern accents. So clam is climb. I was like, okay. Remember how I told you guys previously that the stepdaddy was molesting Celie? And she ended up having children by her stepfather. I said, okay, what was your mother doing all of this? He basically goes on to admit that he's a rapist and that he like making money. Because in the book, he gets out the car and he brings this little girl with her, and you could tell like that he grooming her and shit. I'm like, yo, bro, like, Pop pissed me off. There was this part about how Corinne, which is Sam's wife in Africa, thought that Nettie and Sam was together and that Olivia and Adam was their children together. And I could see why she would think that. So she was very, very skeptical about it. And one thing that was interesting to me in Africa, if it is true by this book, that if a woman has her period in Africa, she has to stay in the house. I put here, I said, love Celie and Suge's relationship. Because it's very rare that you see a relationship like that, where, especially a lesbian relationship, where they're able to talk and communicate and not be as defensive toward each other and just kind of have an understanding of where each other is coming from. So throughout their whole relationship, regardless of if Suge was dealing with a man or not, they had a very, really like dope relationship. And Suge was very, very positive for Celie. So also, they go in to talk about God and how, there's their perception of God. Me personally, I don't have a God. I'm more spiritual. Like, people call their God whatever their God is. Mine is more universal because I believe in having a spiritual connection to things. I believe in the universe. I don't necessarily believe in, how some people go to church and they read the Bible, or some people are Muslim and they read the Quran, stuff like that. That's not necessarily how I do things. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting that they were talking about, who their God is. The next thing is how Celie started her business. Because if you watch the movie, you notice that Celie has this company, but we don't necessarily know what it is. We just see her, stitching stuff up and stuff like that. And she has the name of it, but it's not necessary. She doesn't give a good enough description of what it is that she does with the store name. So Come to find out, Celie ended up starting her own pants company in Memphis. Because remember, she moved to Memphis with Suge after telling Danny Glover to fuck off because he was being an ass. So Suge basically encouraged her to start her pants business, and because she knew that it was gonna be something amazing. So that right there, that made me be like, yeah, I fuck with their relationship because they support each other. So then the next part, because I highlighted this part too, it said in order to pay rent for the barracks, taxes on the land, and to buy water and wood and food, everyone must work. So remember how I told y'all everything used to be free, right? But now it's not free no more. Everybody gotta work for their shit. So they putting taxes on everything, and all the people there in Africa have to work to ensure that they get the things that they need and want and all of that. And this is something that used to be free. And that's why like this shit don't make sense to me. So if anybody has read this book, or if anybody is from Africa or live in Africa, please let me know what it's like living out there, because I'm very, very curious to know, like, is any of this true that was put in the book. And then there's this word called sojourn. It's spelled S-O-J-O-U-R-N. I'm very curious to know what that means, so I'm going to look that up. And the next part is, well, it's actually the very last part of this book. The fact that she ended up forgiving Albert. You guys know that in the movie, he gave her the money to bring her sister and her family home. But that portion of it is not in the book. They made it seem like, yo, Celie hit her up and was like, yo, I got a house, you can come now. And they just pulled up. Like, that's what it seemed like. It didn't seem like there was no money involved or anything like that. But y'all, Alice Walker, I've always known of Alice Walker simply based off of the fact that she's related to Madam C.J. Walker. But when this book came out, first of all, I was too young to read it, so I couldn't read it. And I was curious to read it, but I had to wait until I was older to read it. And also, I wanted the hype to go down on this book, because I don't like reading stuff when it's hyped up. I like to wait. But yeah, you guys, this book was a really, really good book. This book is only 286 pages. So it's a quick read. You know, you ain't gotta do too much. If you don't really necessarily understand Southern accents, it's gonna be very hard to get through this book, because you're trying to figure out what it is they're trying to say in English. So yeah, but overall it was a good book. I'm happy to have it in my collection, along with the Notebook, along with the Cicely Tyson book. That Cicely Tyson book was everything. If you guys want to know how I felt about that book, you can click up here and go watch it. And this book is the winner of the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. I really wanted the hard copy, but they didn't have the hard copy, so I settled for this. But yeah, if you guys are interested in this book, I'll put all the information down in the description box down below. Don't be afraid to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Alright? This y'all.